Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Rebellious Wellness Lifestyle. Today, my guest is Ellen Barrett, and she is going to tell us all about self-love, self-care in ways that you might not think, and the overlooked importance of movement and longevity outside of protecting our bones and getting cardio and all that good stuff. Thank you for being here with me, Ellen.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
Yeah, I'm very excited. As I was telling Ellen before we got on mic, that I was glad to meet her because she has an online fitness studio and I was looking to shake up my routine. And her classes balance Pilates and yoga and dance and breathing and spirit. And that is right up my alley. I don't know, as you've gotten older, has this become more important, this fusion piece? Did you start in one category, like I was a Pilates instructor or I was an aerobics instructor?
Yes. So I started off as an aerobic instructor in 1989 as a high school senior.
Yeah.
And I actually filled in for someone who needed a sub at the last minute. And I was like, I'll do it. And it was the best job. I never really stopped. And I still tell people that I'm an aerobic instructor at heart, but it morphed into Pilates when I discovered Pilates. I knew it was going to be something. It was in the 90s. And I was just like, "Ooh, this is going to be the next big thing." And I just dove headfirst in that. And I loved Pilates, but I still wanted to move a little bit more freely without the reformer bed or be so like the perfectionism of Pilates really rubbed me the wrong way after a while. I was like, let's just move. Let's just move. And so I really started creating my own things because I wanted to build heat in the body, but I also love that stretch strength combination that yoga and Pilates offers. So I really am the ultimate fusion person. I just love to combine the best of everything and see what comes out. So yeah, but I also love barefoot. I and it,
I was
actually
going
when
to
I'm
ask you about that because you talk
yeah,
about barefoot classes.
yeah. So I love being barefoot. I feel more connected from head to toe when I'm barefoot. I also feel like my feet feel better. I know people think, "Oh, don't you need sneakers?" And if you're used to wearing sneakers, going barefoot is shocking initially. But the more you go barefoot, the more you feel the feet love it. They love
Mhm.
moving that way. They love being challenged that way. They don't need cushion. You don't need arch support if once you start getting your feet strong. So I love barefoot. So I created my own thing, but I'm a big fan of moving in general. And I always say I'm an equal opportunity employer. I'll try it all. And I love, like, I played competitive tennis as a young person. I played tennis in college and I loved tennis drills and we would do kangaroo jumps. And I was like, "Ooh, this is fun." I just have always felt very alive when I was moving. And
Mm,
so it just stuck.
I think that's great. And I think I feel bad for people that never got the bug to feel that joy and elation and exhilaration after movement. I don't care whether it's just a walk on a beautiful day or even a rainy day. Some people walk in the rain. Or whether it's full on a 60-minute yoga Pilates fusion class or 20 minutes. I just sometimes you do that and you feel so good afterwards. I can't imagine feeling worse after a workout. I don't think I ever have.
I think that people have been, I think it goes back to like gym class
Mm,
when they made us do like push ups. How many push ups can you do in a minute? I think that has really turned off a lot of people. I think some people think that fitness is torture. Fitness equals
mhm.
pain. It's going to the dentist. And that has never been my experience. And I'm lucky because I fell through the cracks with that because a lot of people, especially in the 90s, we got into these like heart rate monitors and it became very clinical and very logical. And it wasn't about the spirit. It wasn't like Studio 54 in the health club. It was less fun. And also, I think the competitiveness is great for certain people, but I think a lot of people hate that. They just want to be left alone and work out and move their body, and they don't want that. So they get very turned off by it. It's very intimidating. The fitness world can be really intimidating.
Mhm. Especially when you look at posts on, let's say, Instagram or videos on YouTube, and people are deadlifting 200 pounds and they're over 50 or they're 30 and they're running marathons. Whatever age, there seems to be this push to be that type of athlete or that type of worker outer. And that's certainly not for everybody. And it's certainly not the only way to have a fit life.
Totally. I think that people think that's what fitness is, a 20-pound, dumbbell.
I don't
And
like like 20-pound dumbbells. I like the 15, the 10s and the 15s.
Yeah. I like even lower than that. Like
Oh, I love eights, but I didn't want to admit
yeah.
that. Sounds
Eights are
wimpy.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, eights are great. So I want to go back to the barefoot thing because that's another undervalued aspect of our health. Peter Attia, in his book Outlive, he's always got some kind of trainer. And he was trying to correct some misalignment when he did deadlifts or whatever. And this woman said, take your shoes off. I have to see your feet. And then there was this whole piece about how the arch is like our core of our body. And the more you go barefoot and do just simple raises off your toes, raise your toes up, you really strengthen that. And that in turn helps align the body. And all this interesting stuff that I love to go barefoot, but I hadn't known all of that interesting stuff about alignment.
It is really interesting. And there's actually a ton of research about it. So it's pretty undeniable. But going barefoot for your workout is just, it integrates. So
Mm.
your foot's not cut off from the rest of your body, which it's in a cast when you're wearing a shoe. But also you have a little bit more connection to the ground when you're standing up. And then that helps you power the movement. I also think go barefoot and your alignment will fall into place a lot better. Shoes can throw off our alignment. And a lot of people have seen that diagram of a woman in a high heel, and then they
Mm.
show her spine contortion. And that is when you're wearing a running sneaker, it's not as extreme, but it is contorting the spine.
Mm.
It's not aligning. There's so many benefits to going barefoot. And it's not like you have to go hiking in snow barefoot, but it's spend an hour in a controlled surface going barefoot, walk on the beach barefoot, walk in your yard barefoot, walk around your house barefoot. Just get that barefoot movement going. And then over time, I jokingly say I'm allergic to shoes because you start to really feel sensitive. You know, when you see a little dog and they put those like rain boots on
Oh
dogs and
God, I can't stand it.
I know, and they start like trying to kick them off. That's me now as a 50 something old woman because I'm like, oh God, I can't wait to get these shoes off because my feet want to be free. But they're also super capable because they're barefoot. They're not atrophied, they're not babied. And so the feet get stronger, but your whole body gets more integrated. And I think back problems, a lot of them are from shoes. I
Mm.
think knee problems are from shoes. I think the chronic ones the chronic illnesses, that chronic pain that creep in and no one really knows what caused it. I think, oh, shoes. That's my
Mm.
opinion though.
And the sneakers that how so many brands now have a super wedge thick sole. So there's even less balance and connection to the ground. And I read a whole story on that too. I had a yoga teacher years ago, and we never wore shoes. She would have us raise your toes all the time. And she said, mind my words, you're going to have the best feet in the old lady's home. Everybody else's toes will be curled and they'll be uncomfortable. That actually worked to keep me
That
doing
is
it.
true. It is true. You know what else is true? You want to spread your feet. Like
Mm.
the whole concept of having a little tiny foot is so ridiculous because some women would buy a shoe size one size smaller because they were like, no, I want to be dainty or whatever. That's actually one of the worst things you can do.
I can't even imagine putting my foot in a shoe that was a size smaller.
Yes, because you just crunch your toes and
Yeah,
it's a bad thing. It's bad.
it's a bad thing. Let's talk about some good things.
Yes.
So, what is your favorite thing to teach people in these fusion classes? What is the basis for what you teach and how you teach?
I think the ultimate message for me is movement is medicine. And movement should promote a feeling of vitality. You should feel empowered. It should boost your confidence. Movement should give you energy and not deplete energy. So my whole thing is movement is the best self-help tool. It's in your toolbox. It's in everyone's toolbox. And you could have a broken leg and you could do breathing workouts, and breathing is the primordial movement. So movement is truly medicine, and you don't have to overdo it. In fact, don't overdo it, but you want to get your energy flowing and get tuned into your body and just start to notice all the benefits. There's instant benefits and there's long-term benefits. So my message is get moving. My website is ellenbarrett.com, but my streaming studio, my online studio is called Let's Move because that's how I just said that all the time. I'm like, let's move. Like it was like, let's party, let's have fun, let's eat. Like why don't we, let's move. Like everything else has a positive connotation. I was trying to make movement have that positive connotation.
I bet your son heard that quite a bit when he was growing up.
Oh, he did. I didn't have to go to him very much because we were moving a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I learned a lot having a child and watching him, because it was total torture for him to sit still. And
Mm.
then it was a total like reward to go to the playground or to run races or play in the snow in the winter. So it was like, wow, we should be like that as adults. Somewhere along the line, we lose that,
Mhm.
and we shouldn't. And it's good when you don't. There's people like you and me that maybe didn't lose that, which is good.
Oh, and hopefully we inspire other people.
Right,
I was
right.
thinking of a winter when you said snow. My sister, when I lived out in the Hamptons, I lived on a really quiet road. It was slightly sloped, and my sister came to visit, and I think we had just had to put a cat down, or like every Christmas there was some animal that was willing to cross over. But we went outside and it was snowing, and it was that little bit of slippy snow, and all of a sudden we just started zooming down the street, like pushing ourselves and sliding and giggling, even in that moment when we were so sad. But it literally just came from somewhere. Like our bodies just wanted to play in the snow. And so we did. And this was, I was in my 50s. She was lower, younger than me. But I love that. And that still comes up to me. Like I see piles of leaves now and I'm thinking, I want to jump and kick them around. And I wouldn't because they're never my leaves, some neighbors, but I still get that. And I wonder if people do get that inspiration and they go, nah, I can't do that. What do you think? Like running in a, jumping in a puddle in the rain or something.
You know what? It's a good sign if they do get that inspiration and they have that, like maybe a memory or that kind of desire to do that, because it's a healthy thing.
Mm.
It's natural. It's what the human bodies meant to do that.
Yeah. And I was thinking about the breathing piece. I know a lot of people are not familiar with breath work. As an exercise, as a foundation for peace of mind, clarity, lowering your nervous system, whatever. Do you
Mhm.
actually do breath work, separate classes for breath work? Maybe we should start with telling people what breath work is different than like a meditation with a breathing exercise.
Breath work can be as simple as paying attention to your breath. So it could be like closing your eyes and just feeling your breath, noticing the quality of your breath. And then yoga, you can combine a breathing pattern with a movement. You can play with the breath. Like we say, we co create the breath because the breath's going to happen. I would say the breath's coming. You're breathing 99% of the time, you're breathing, and you're not even knowing you're breathing for you. So we're really blessed because the breath's going to happen. The universe is like saying, no, this person's going to keep breathing. So that's why I think breath work can feel very intimidating sometimes because you've got this PhD from Harvard that's teaching breathing courses, and it's really, and it gets trippy, it gets in your head. So it's really about breathing with your body. And then so I love breath work, and it's a great intro. I don't do just solo move, just breathing, maybe a fit tip here and there, but breathing is incorporated into movement in my workouts, and
Mm.
breathing might be the warm up. It might be, let's take a 4 count inhale through the nose. Let's take a 5 count exhale out through the mouth and really let it go, and visualize yourself letting go of the stress of the day as you exhale. So it's like really getting embodied with your breath and realizing that it's coming at you and it's fueling you. And sometimes we block it a little bit. Tension and fear and bad posture constrict the breath. And then we step out of the flow. We actually are blocking abundance. So you can show me how someone breathes and I'll show you how they're living their life, because that flow needs to happen.
I
So
often say, don't, if you notice that you're becoming the letter C, because you're at your keyboard, and just sit up and throw your shoulders back and take a deep breath to reconnect with Catholic school. The nuns are like, sit up straight, sit up straight. And my mother, she would take the ruler. But I'm so glad that was a thing that was drummed into my head, because not only will I hopefully not be that rounded person when I'm 20 years from now, but the breath is so important, like you say. And the posture, you feel better. It's like the power, what do they call the power woman stance? If your
oh yeah,
shoulders are
yeah.
back and you're standing or sitting up straight, I think you feel more powerful.
Yes, you do. And I say, like, when you're walking through a threshold of some sort, you want your heart to go first. You don't want your head in front. Your head should not lead the way. And I think a lot of people like have their head tilted forward, and just getting the head back is super important.
That sounds both metaphoric and literal.
Exactly. Exactly. So goes the body, so goes everything else.
So I should mention, we're talking all about your classes. You have an online studio. And so
Yes.
And you have a free trial.
Yes, 7-day free trial.
And I mean, I have taken lots and lots of classes online, and this is the most affordable thing I've ever seen with as many choices as is available. $7.95 a
Yes.
month, you guys, to try it. And there's probably 100 different classes that I can see in front of me. And some
Yes,
of
we
it,
have.
we're talking all about this lovely movement and feeling super empowered and this, but there's also cardio and there's bar and then there's fat burning fusion, right? So it's not, I don't want them people to be thinking that it was all just this lovely, let's breathe and let's, if they want a higher intensity workout, there is that.
Yes, I believe in variety. We have variety in durations. We have 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. We have variety in intensity. I really believe in cardio, strength, and stretch. I think a real neglected part for longevity is mobility and flexibility. And so everyone talks about the strength component for women over 50, but the flexibility thing is the fountain of youth. But I love when it all is tossed together like a salad in the same workout. And that's very common for the Let's Move platform. But we have over 100 workouts now, and we add one every month. The next one that comes out is on Monday. And it's just, it like for me, I had DVDs. I go way
I
back.
was like, people talking about, I've known you for 20 years. I had your DVDs. I'm like, that is the Wayback Machine right there.
Yes, I go and yeah, way back. And I also was on Fit TV, which was that
I remember Fit
channel.
TV.
Remember that channel?
Hmm.
Yes. When everything went digital, I just needed a place to put the workouts that I had produced. And I was like, I'm just going to make my own thing. And then I said, oh, I'm just going to create a new workout every month. And that was in 2018. And it's
Wow.
going strong ever since. And I've created a monster. I'm not going to lie. But I really did it from it was just very intuitive for me. And it was just like altruistic in a way. I just wanted a platform because people were going digital. I'm like, these have to have a place to go. And I've loved it. I've loved the freedom of it too, because I can name things what I want to name them. And I can just add my own little quirky stuff. And I think my people appreciate that. But that was the whole thing, was it just came from it's from the heart for sure. It's my creative baby.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell that the website is very simple, but there's lots of information available. And then there's the blog. And one of the things that you talk about on your blog is the perfectionism of, you say Pilates, but I'm going to go back to influencers and how we should be living and doing movement and doing food and doing this and doing, right? Like you are so the antithesis of that. So how do your
Yes.
classes not take people to that place where they feel they have to be perfect?
The mindset is as important as the movement. And so I think people find me that want to not be judged, but also just feel good about themselves on all levels. And so we have modifiers that can give options in all the workouts. And I just say, look, go at your own pace. You do you. This is not a performance. This is for your wellness. I think that's an important thing. But I think a lot of women are so sick of the perfectionism stuff and the all or nothing. I think it's ridiculous because fitness isn't about a photograph, and it's not how you look, it's how you function. And the look will come after that. You'll
Mhm.
look great once you're functioning great.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's the thing. I think it's just my attitude towards fitness really permeates every workout.
And we talked too about biohacking, the culture of biohacking and thinking that, and there's another blog, I think somebody said, I have to lose weight before I join your classes, or, and
Right.
all of this noise that's out there is similar to when we were young. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are, they're setting you up. They, if we get into it, are setting us up for not good enough, not
Right.
ready enough,
Right.
not barefoot enough, whatever it is.
Right.
But for people that you don't have to be a biohacker and you can leave your shoes on. But what you do have to do, and I'm going to take a stand here, is move every day, do something, right? A walk, even if it's to the mailbox to start with, because you just haven't been doing it. Add to that if you wouldn't mind.
It's so true. Fitness is the OG biohack. It's no one talked about biohacking when I started this business as an 18-year-old girl
Right.
in 1990. So the most important thing is realizing that movement is pretty much free, always accessible, and it can change you instantly and in the long term. It is the best biohack. And we think, oh, we need to save money for this infrared sauna, or we have to take creatine, or it's like all that stuff, whatever. There's other stuff that you could be doing that isn't fancy like that, but way, actually more impactful. Yeah, the fitness business has morphed and changed and ebbed and flowed in the 30 plus years I've been in it. And right now, there's just so much fakery. And it's an all-time high of posers. And I don't mean to be like negative, but like people that really aren't walking their talk. They're doing some devious things that aren't that well in the behind the scenes. And even just with like cosmetic surgery and all that stuff, it's go for it, go nuts, no judgment. But you can't say that that's created by fitness or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of insecurity there. I think being secure and having your own self-esteem and being happy with yourself is part of being fit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the whole person being well is important, not just your body. You've got to be mentally well. So I think that's what's going on right now. And it's strange. It's a strange environment.
It
To say the
really,
least.
sometimes I just look at the videos and I think, why are you saying strawberries are bad for you? And you got some information from somewhere.
Right.
And again, with everybody's deadlifting a ridiculous amount of weight and like you said, no judgment. That's great. That's awesome. But it's certainly not most women my age are not going to start deadlifting 200 pounds.
Yes, exactly.
You could work up to that. I'm not saying you couldn't. I don't even know whether it's good for us. A friend of mine who's a yoga instructor just said the other day, you really shouldn't be doing weights with your shoulder over your head as you age, unless you know that you've got really strong bone. It just puts strain on the bone. So there are all these things that have to be taken into consideration. Not that we should feel we have to slow down, not that we should feel we can't do a marathon or lift, but we have to know what our body is capable of as we progress to the next decade and then the next decade, right? We're not always going to be able to do what we did when we were 30.
There should be no negative side effect to fitness. When you work out, it should be all good all the time. You shouldn't even be sore, to be honest. You shouldn't be tired. You should have more energy. You should feel more empowered. You should feel more connected to your body. So when there's a negative side effect, you've gone too far. Either it's gone too long or been too intense, or it's been the wrong format for you in that moment. So fitness should have zero negative side effect. And I think people never get told that either. When you had to time how many push-ups you can do in 1 minute, do you know how sore you were from doing that? Like when you were in 8th grade, you still remember that. So I think that's another thing too. It's like easy does it. And the more you move, the more you'll move. So movement begets movement, energy begets movement, energy begets energy. So you want to move your body and you want to start where you're at. Where you are is perfect, and just incrementally challenge yourself a little bit more, but stay in that happy zone where you feel good.
And I don't think it was with you that I was talking about this too before we got on mic, but anti-aging, all the facial stuff we do, I'm guilty. I was just yesterday, I had a little something there, anyway. I think one of the best ways to have your face look good and healthy is to move and sweat, and it creates circulation more than if you're just sitting around. And I'm not saying it's taken 10 years off your face, but it is definitely going to keep some of that healthy glow look no matter what age you are. And that's 100%. Important to every age, but
100%. Exercise is a facial. It's like a facial. It nourishes your skin.
Absolutely. It nourishes all of us. And something we talked about earlier is we think of the bones and the heart and all of the body medical related reasons for exercise. And I'm going to throw balance in there. We didn't talk about balance, but if you move, the more you move in different ways, the better your balance, which is also important as much as strength is. But that mental, emotional, call it spiritual, whatever you want, is definitely expanded as well as whatever we're doing for our body when we're moving. Yeah.
There's studies that show people that regularly exercise don't report being depressed. They have less depression. People who regularly exercise have more confidence. People who regularly exercise actually have more creative flow. There was a study, I forget where it was, but they had all these people that were writers, and they had writers walk.
Uh,
And then they had the writers not walk. And the writers that walked were more prolific. They actually wrote more, even though
Wow.
they spent time walking. So
Uh-huh.
it actually gives you time in a way, because it sorts things out. I think, again, exercise is this big picture of being well. And fitness is one part of it. So the body, the muscles, and the strength, and being able to lift that, whatever, is a great byproduct of fitness, and not diminishing that at all. It's fabulous. There's just so much more that exercise delivers to us. And that sense of capability, when you feel like you're capable, that also feeds into your level of confidence. And so I think that's the most important thing. Like, I'm in my 50s now, and I feel really strong. And I see women lose their confidence in their 50s, and I see them becoming victims. I see victim mentality, or such, and get down in the dumps about their bodies changing, or things get harder or whatever. But like, for me, I feel like I'm just getting started in a way, because now it's game time. Now I'm really going to step up to the plate. I'm just going to really honor my physical body the best I can, because I see how precious it is now. I see it's how precious it is. It's taken me this far. I also see I've gotten this far without really any injuries, nothing
Mm.
chronic, nothing long term. And I think it's because, going back to the barefoot thing, it's also going back to not overdoing it, not underdoing it, but finding that Goldilocks, steady, just right thing. And that takes it, the more you move, the more sensitive you get to that. And you know that state when you hit it. So yeah, longevity.
Longevity, go longevity. So, Ellen, did I miss anything that you wanted to share with people? I just want to mention your website is 11 Ellen Barrett with two R's and two T's.com. What did we leave out? What did we miss?
I think maybe hitting on that, like, longevity doesn't seem like a very glamorous word, but when you think about all the stuff you've gotten to this point, it's like, this is the wise years. This is the time where you can really make impact, but you have to be fit and well to really go the distance. So it's as a form of self-love, but also you're offering out a lot to the world. So
Mhm.
you owe it to the world to stay fit, to stay functional. And movement is a huge, easy, low-hanging fruit biohack that's right there for you.
I love it. Perfect ending. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And people, I would say go take a free class, for goodness sakes. It's just, there's so many to choose from. Maybe you've been interested in Pilates or bar, or take a 15-minute class, see whether you like it or not. No going to the gym, no leaving the house.
Yeah, options. Lots of
Options.
options.
All right. Thanks again, Ellen. And we will be back next week with another fabulous guest, people. So be well till then.